YouTube, what's up? Back again for another daily fishing video here on Andrew Upshaw Fishing. Yesterday we released our fantasy fishing picks for the Classic. Me, Todd, Matt, and Hallman all released our picks, and it was a lot of fun. And I also had a video yesterday about fishing in the evening, but today's video is going to be still centered around the Bassmasters Classic. Today's video, we're going to talk about who I think is going to win the Classic and why everything is shaping up the way it is. This is going to be a different Classic, guys, than we've all ever seen. This place is going to be extremely unique, and they're going to catch some really big bass. So I hope y'all enjoyed this video. It's going to be a cool little breakdown of exactly what you're going to see at the Classic, or at least my point of view on what you're going to see. Hey, guys, also, I'm going to be at the Bassmasters Classic. I'm going to be in the Lose and Strike King booth. Also be shooting a TV show for Let's Fish TV, a kind of behind-the-scenes look of everything that's going on. So make sure y'all stay tuned for that. If y'all haven't yet, hit that sub button in the bottom right-hand corner and comment below, have you ever gone to a Bassmasters Classic? And if you have, which one did you go to? I hope y'all enjoyed this video, and I'll see you here in just a second. So the Bassmasters Classic starts in a couple of days, and if y'all watched my video the other day, I got to talk about my story of the Bassmasters Classic and everything, but today's video is going to talk about what they are going to experience at the Classic. So they're fishing Ray Roberts. You know, Ray Roberts is a lake around Dallas, and it is known in that area and throughout Texas for really, really big fish. You know, these guys, the ones that were coming to it prior to all the conditional change, we're expecting to catch them offshore. No question about it. I mean, some guys we're going to catch them shallow and fish the trees and things like that. But 9 times out of 10, the guys that we're going to catch them, we're going to catch them offshore. This lake has an abundance of cover, whether it be from offshore rock, road beds, pond dams, slabs, home foundations, things like that. There is an abundance of every type of cover out there and some giant bass. I was really hoping that was going to be the bite because I thought it was going to be a really fun thing to watch. But just like always happens, Mother Nature has come to the call. And that's what we're going to experience this week at Ray Roberts. The lake has come up over 4 foot high. And I'm telling you guys, this is going to change the way these fish react and how they bite. There's no doubt about it. They are going to catch them this week. There's a lot of really big fish there, but they're going to have to do it in shallow water. There's going to be some guys that catch them dragging, and there's still going to be a couple big ones probably caught offshore because those fish don't always just vacate it. They're just harder to catch. You know, if it gets 4, 5, 6 foot of water over the top of where they usually are, it makes that fishing much tougher. But in this situation, the fishing's going to be pretty good, and they're going to have to catch them up there in the dirt. So it's going to be hard to actually get to some of the cover because there's going to be so much extra water up there. So that's one thing that's going to challenge them. The other thing that's going to challenge them is you're going to be able to see a lot of water that you're never going to get to. So guys with aluminum boats are going to definitely have a better advantage because they're going to be able to beat their boats up a little bit more and get to cover that not everybody's going to get to or willing to put their boat through. You know, guys like John Cox, Bill Lowen, and even a couple of the other aluminum boat guys, they're all going to have pretty good tournaments, I would expect, because they're able to get to that type of cover. A few things that I think are going to be in play this week at this particular event is a topwater. I think a topwater is going to be big time money. A frog, a sexy frog, popping perch. These fish are going to be eating. They eat all the time there, flipping. I don't know if y'all watched the video of Bill Lowen catching 7 fish off of one boat dock, but expect something like that to happen. Somebody that's patient like a Bill Lowen that's going to be pulling up into cover and to really break down that one particular piece of cover, whether it's a big willow tree or a big piece of brush or maybe a piece of standing timber. Somebody that's patient enough to wait those bites out to get one of those really big bites. The other thing that's obviously going to be into play is flipping. Flipping is always a really big, strong thing whenever a strong pattern when the water is high. Expect to see creature baits, big jigs. I mean, these guys are going for it. I mean, when Matt Herron won the Texas Bass Classic there, he won it flipping a jig. So I would honestly expect a jig to play a major role. They're going to be eating bluegill. There's going to be a lot of bluegill up there. I think we're a little late for the shad spawn, but you might catch just the tail end of it. But you're going to see a lot more of the bluegill eaters and that's going to be the big primary thing. You're also going to see one thing is a spinnerbait and a vibrating jig. You're going to see those play, especially if they get cloud cover and stuff like that. And that's when you start talking about breaking down the tournament. That's what we're talking about here, is breaking down the Bassmasters Classic before the fishing even kicks off. They aren't going to just catch the fire out of them. Don't expect them to catch 30, 40, 50 fish a day. If you catch 10 to 15 a day, you're doing pretty darn good, and you're probably going to have a pretty good bag, especially if you're fishing the way that I'm talking about. That's how I would fish it if I was going. I mean, you got to swing, but you got to swing smart. You know, you can't go into the tournament saying, I'm just going to go throw a 10XD all day and expect to catch 5 fish every day. That's just not how it's going to work. You got to be smart. You got to make sure you secure that limit and try to get a kicker. A kicker is king at this particular event. And that's how I think that these guys are going to really catch them, is they're going to have a kicker each day of the tournament. And if the person that catches a kicker day 1, 2, and 3 is going to have a chance to win. I truly think that the weights are going to be over 60 pounds. 64 pounds, I think, was my guess. 64 pounds is a good number. You know, it's a little over 20 pounds a day. Or if somebody catches a giant bag, you're going to see that weight. And maybe it won't. And maybe I'm totally wrong. But around a 50-boat tournament on a small body of water like that, I think these guys are going to be able to spread out and catch them the way that they're comfortable catching them. I truly think in this particular event, the shallow water guys are going to dominate. The guys that are comfortable in 5 foot, 6 foot or less are going to be the guys who win. And that is no question about that. In this particular event, I do have one clear-cut pick for the win. I truly believe that he's due. You know, he's been doing it for a very long time. He has a history with rising water and changing conditions, and he always shows up. And he's one that I really expect to do well, and that's Steve Kennedy. Steve Kennedy, I fished against him for a long time. He's one of those guys that he can drop his boat in the water, he can look up in the sky and look at the water and look at the water color, and he knows exactly what to do and what to go throw. He's extremely confident in flooded lake tournaments, so expect him to do well. John Cox, coming off a win at Smith Lake. The guy's won all over, but he definitely excels with a swim jig in his hand, and I think a swim jig is going to play here as well. Bill Lowen coming off his first win of the year, and you can't count Bill Lowen out on a flooded lake tournament, especially when where the bites are tough to get. But one we haven't talked about is Chris Zaldain. He lives there. I know he spent his time there. The only outlier there is I know he spent his time offshore. I don't know how much time he spent up there shallow, but I know he probably graphed the entire lake, and he has every offshore spot marked. But I do believe that Chris is a good enough fisherman that he can adapt and change things up and go out there and do well in the event. So look to have Chris Zaldain do extremely well too. Hey guys, I will be at the Bassmaster Classic. Y'all come find me. I'd love to talk to you, talk fishing, and do all that stuff. But hey, if you haven't yet, hit that sub button in the bottom right-hand corner and comment below. Have you ever been to a Bassmasters Classic? I hope to see you guys there. I hope this helps you break down the Ray Roberts Bassmaster Classic, and hopefully whoever wins it is going to be in that list of guys that I just listed. But guys, I hope y'all enjoyed this video, and I'll see you on the next one.